Dave, I missed you. It was only 15 minutes, but I did.
It feels like a lot longer. Yeah,
like
it's good to be
I didn't miss you, Dave.
And I figured, Shady.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Appreciate the honesty. Anyway, let's be honest about Aaron Rodgers. Raiders closing the door on Rodgers. Oh, it's a bad decision. It's a bad decision being made by a bad organization. See, most teams, if they part ways with their quarterback, like the Packers are considering, they got a contingency plan. Jordan Love, he's been there for 3 years, same head coach, same system, showed promise. The 49ers, okay, if we're going to part ways with Jimmy G, let's make sure Trey Lance is good. We don't trust that Trey Lance is good, we'll keep Jimmy G. Okay, if we're going to part ways with Jimmy G, let's make sure we have Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Contingency plans, people. Okay, we don't know if Kenny Pickett's going to be ready, so let's have Mitch Trubisky just in case he's not. Steelers. Contingency plans, people. But the Raiders got rid of Derek Carr with no contingency plan. So if you don't have a contingency plan, you better beg and plead that Aaron Rodgers is willing to leave Green Bay. I think it's dumb to close the door on Aaron Rodgers if, in fact, Aaron Rodgers does end up interested. Joy Taylor, what in the world do you say?
Raiders funny, boy.
They are. The funniest.
I mean, just my thoughts and good energy to Raiders fans, because I really don't know how you do it. What do you mean you are possibly closing the door on Aaron Rodgers? Do y'all have anything in the house to close the door for?
Thank you.
Good point.
That part.
Where's the fridge? You're in here without essentials. That's why when they have these conversations about cutting people or trading people or moving on from quarterbacks, I'm like, that's really cute. I love that idea. For who? For whomst are we moving on from him for? You have to replace this position.
Correct.
It's the most important position. So even if you have subpar quarterback play, if you've got that person in the building, you better keep him until you find out what else you're doing. So what is the plan? Are you drafting a quarterback? Then just say that. Are you working on bringing in a free agent? Say that. But what they're literally saying is they don't have a plan.
Correct.
Like their GM said, we might not have a solution this year. What do you mean you don't have a solution this year?
Wow.
What does that mean? I don't know what that language is.
That's
It sounds like
That's scary.
It sounds like incompetence is the language I think you're speaking, because you play in a division with Patrick Mahomes.
Talk about it.
You play in a division with Justin Herbert. You play in a division with Sean Payton and a chip on the shoulder Russell Wilson. And you have a terrible defense.
Terrible.
So it's not even you can be like, oh, well, we could just find somebody because we got this half of the ball fixed. You have nothing fixed. Nothing is fixed. All solutions should be on the table. So the idea that you wouldn't want, and I don't think this is how Aaron flirts, by the way. The whole like, oh, we don't want you thing. I don't know if that's his vibe.
He wants to be wooed.
I think he wants to be wooed.
He wants to be
you
wooed.
might be trying the hard to get thing, and you really don't have a lot to get to be playing hard for. So
That's
I don't
like
know.
a shady bar.
What's that?
You can't play hard to get if you don't have a lot
Before
to
the show.
play hard for.
Shady's words of wisdom.
Sound like a shady bar. Shady, drop some bars on this one, though. Would the Raiders be making a mistake to close the door on Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely. And I don't get it. Like, you don't have nothing there now. But you do have a top 5, top 3 wide receiver, right, that has great chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I think some of Aaron Rodgers' best ball is with this receiver, Devontae Adams. I don't understand that. You have a tight end that's a top 5 tight end with a solid running game. Why wouldn't you want to bring him here? And then I think it really makes sense when I look at, like, Josh. I don't know if he's a great coach. I haven't seen it yet as a head coach, but as a coordinator, he's been solid with Tom Brady. So now you bring a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is used to, I'm going to say it, bullying most coaches, right? But now it's a respect thing. Oh, well, he coached Tom Brady. So, I mean, he going to look at me like, oh, looks like a regular person, right? Compared to the coach looking at him like, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers. No, it's a great fit. I think it could work out where you could kind of manage A-Rod's attitude, swagger, because he get wild a little bit. And then you have a solid offense. I think it's a great mixture. I don't know why they would shut the door on Aaron Rodgers. This makes no sense.
Yeah, the Raiders shutting the door on Aaron Rodgers.
And who are they to be? I'm sorry. Who are they to be shutting the door on anybody? Like,
You took
what?
the words right out of my mouth. Like,
We shut the door on them. Like they're the Chiefs.
Well, I'm trying to say.
did y'all what? Did any of y'all ever try to like run away from home when you were a kid? Like, your parents made
nah,
you
my
mad?
dad went with all that.
It's a little darker of a story for me, but so I'll say yes, but pass.
My dad whooping tail.
Look, this
I wish you would.
Yeah, he ain't caught a cop.
Why are you going?
Yeah.
Why you going? Sorry, I had flashback.
Different backgrounds we all bring. This reminds me of being a kid and be like, all right, I've got my suitcase, which has like 3 things in it because I'm a kid. I don't have a suitcase. I'm like, I'm gone. I'm out. Y'all are going to miss me when I'm Nobody cares. Nobody's... I'm leaving.
Like, all right, Davey.
All right, see you back at dinner, kiddo. Like, who are the Raiders? And would they really, like, if Aaron Rodgers came out of his darkness retreat and was like, you know what? It's all about the silver and black, baby. Let's get this done. You think the Raiders are like, no, we consider that and it's over, sir. No, this is ridiculous. I will say the Raiders would be silly to only consider Aaron Rodgers. That's how you wind up, like you said, with no plan B. Like if it's all fixated on one guy and you have to pivot, now you're in trouble. And I mean, there are a lot of free agent quarterbacks available, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo, who's got a history with Josh McDaniels. There's ways you can do this. They have a top 10 pick. If that's what they want to do, there's ways you can do this. But if Aaron Rodgers is on the table, you leave that door open for as long as you need to. He's clearly the best option available with Tom Brady retiring. And for one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the league to try to float the idea that they're too good to consider it's silly.
Okay, let me ask you all this question. Pivoting the conversation just a little bit. Does this say more about the Raiders and you all's lack of respect for the Raiders, or does it say more about Aaron Rodgers and you all's admiration for Aaron Rodgers' quarterbacking ability? Because we know that several teams that don't necessarily have quarterbacks, I've said, yo, don't go get Aaron Rodgers. The Jets. I don't think the Jets should get Aaron Rodgers. The Commanders. I don't necessarily think they should get Aaron Rodgers, but Commanders are a little more desperate in my mind than the Jets. But the Raiders were like, yo, who the heck are y'all to not consider Aaron Rodgers? Does this say more, Dave, I'll go to you first. Does this say more about the Raiders or more about Rodgers?
I think it says both. I lean toward saying it says more about Aaron Rodgers because even if he's not a back-to-back MVP caliber player, I think he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league, probably, heading into next season. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. And again, we talked about this yesterday with Lamar Jackson. It's really hard to find all-pro or even Pro Bowl caliber quarterback play. Then you combine that with the fact that the Raiders are one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the league, 2 playoff trips in the last decade, a decade of even worse futility before that. Derek Carr was as close as they got to competent quarterback play, and that netted 0 playoff wins. They would, Joy and I talked about this yesterday, they would kill to suffer the disappointments that the Packers have gone through. So I think it's a little bit of both, but I'm still willing to put some respect on Rodgers' ability.
It's way more about the Raiders for me because statistically, Aaron Rodgers had almost the same season as Derek Carr did last year. They both were at home on the couch at the same exact time. So they really weren't that far apart. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has had a better career and a better resume than Derek Carr. That goes without saying. But last year, what have you done for me lately? They're not that far apart. So it's way more to me about what the Raiders are trying to put out. The Raiders are a dysfunctional organization. Derek Carr had 6 head coaches in his time there. How long was he there? 9 years?
Yep.
Ugh.
That's not a good.
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. It is. Like, you should look at that and think that is ridiculous. That's not a well-run organization. No company that goes through that many positions at that leadership position is well-run. So it's way more to me about the Raiders. Like, the Raiders, if they're going to ever get this right, have to establish a culture and have to build an organization.
But then that leads me to something, Shady. I want your thought on this story.
But I know you're about to go.
Aaron Rodgers is not who you want for that.
That's why I'm saying it's way more about the Raiders to me, because who are you as the Raiders to say you're closing the door on a first ballot Hall of Famer, whether he's a good leader or not? Anyone on that list, for them to be like, oh, no, we're not going to accept them. Like,
right.
Huh?
But would you want to add dysfunction to dysfunction? Because if the Raiders are the most dysfunctional franchise, or one of the most dysfunctional franchises, 2-5, we know as much game as Aaron Rodgers has, at least individually, he is definitely a catalyst for dysfunction. So would you want to add dysfunction to dysfunction?
I mean, well, first of all, it's more Raiders dysfunction.
Okay.
Like, you bring a new coach in, right? So you're trying to establish a new culture there. You bring in the best wide receiver in football, Devontae Adams, right? And then you add on an amazing pass rusher in Chandler Jones. And then now you don't have a quarterback. Think how that sounds. You see what I'm saying? So, like, even if it's A-Rod or whoever it is, Tom Brady, if he was playing, like, where's the plan at? You bring a new coach, new players, and now, like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to compete? First of all, you're in the best conference or division in football. and you're not even trying to compete.
Shady, can you tell the world before we go to break? You had a story that really parallels to this moment when you went to Buffalo. And you clearly were in your prime. I mean, 1,600-yard seasons, 13 crazy seasons. And there was a moment where they didn't necessarily know what they were doing at quarterback. They had Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor clearly is a above-average backup in the league for a long time. Then they had Nathan Peterman. They drafted a project in Josh Allen. Yeah. We know who Josh Allen has become, but at the point, LeSean McCoy is the 27-year-old all-pro in the prime of his career. Can you speak to Raiders players who might be wondering, what direction are we going?
Especially the older ones. Okay, Devontae Adams, he's not no youngster.
Devontae
and he's really
Adams
good.
ain't trying to
and it's the
not
thing.
have a plan.
He came there for Derek Carr, and now he's going. Okay, he's going. Okay, cool. Who's the quarterback? They don't even know. Where in Buffalo, it was similar because, we drafted Josh Allen. He was young. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, are we rebuilding? Then we started playing Nathan Peterman. He threw 5 picks He threw 4 picks and a half, and he threw 5 for the game. So it's like, I'm like, Coach, I'm still nice. Yep. What are we doing? Our offensive line was up and down. So at this point in my career, it's like, what do you do? I look at Devontae Adams. What's he do next? He's still legit, and he's still one of the best players. Not even wide receiver, one of the best players in the league. So now I'm here. We have no quarterback, a new coach. What's he supposed to do? I would ask, get out of there. If you can, they just paid him, but it's like messing his career up.
Yeah, he's not just trying to sit there and waste time. Well, the bombshell news of the day was this. Russell Wilson, he is a Bronco now, but allegedly he wanted Pete Carroll fired. That story broke first thing in the morning, and Russell Wilson responded second thing this morning. You got to hear what he had to say and what we have to say about it. Next.
They lying on Russ, man.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.